Oh man, famous billionaire Mark Cuban has just been hacked for $870,000 worth of crypto. We're going to break down exactly what happened and the lessons we can learn. Plus, Bitcoin looks set to post its first positive green weekly candle in 5 weeks here. We've really taken a big hit, falling all the way down from 29.6, now recovering slightly to 26.5. Where do I think this price action could head? Remember, we've just come off the back of some bad CPI and PPI data. What is that going to mean going into what is going to be a critical FOMC meeting this week? Loads to play for here in the market, and I need to keep you guys aware of the key levels in the chart. This M pattern here is still looming. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. Let's kick off by talking about what went down with Mr. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban loses $870,000 in a hot wallet hack. Nearly 900,000 worth of crypto is reportedly drained from one of the hot wallets belonging to billionaire investor and Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. And now what you can see here was interesting, guys. He lost a bunch of this through different tokens, USDC, Tether, staked Ether. It seemed like the hackers were waiting for him to log in and pounce on the right opportunity. So he said he's not logged into this account for many, many months. He then logged in and suddenly this hack happened. And he wasn't even made aware of it until a little while ago. And he confirmed it hours later to DL News. But it's just a reminder for all of us that none of you are safe with crypto, right? You've got to be very, very careful. We touched upon this yesterday, in fact, where you're early in this crypto space. And by virtue of you being early, you get the pros and you have to take the cons. The pros are you're going to get volatile price action, you're going to get big swings to the upside and the big gains. The negative is the lack of regulation, the Wild West, the fact you could get hacked, there aren't easy ways to on-ramp and off-ramp, getting your fiat into the exchanges. We know all the challenges, right? But if you go for those challenges, you can get the rewards. If you don't, it's fine. You can come back in 3, 4, 5, 6 years' time when there's plenty of nice wallets and plenty of fiat on-ramps and BlackRock are in and all the institutions are in, and you could buy a Bitcoin spot ETF if you want the safety of it, and maybe one day the government will back your crypto like they back US dollars in the bank, and then you can come in, right? And everything's gonna be easy. But then you're gonna have no gains, right? It's just gonna move like the S&P, where it's like 4 or 5% per annum, and you're not gonna get the outsized bull markets at that point. If you want to get involved in any technology early, you've got to take the risks. If you're one of the first people to drive around a Tesla looking so cool driving your electric vehicle, guess what? You're gonna have to put up with the downsides of the battery not charging or not having enough range, right? If you're one of the early people using full self-driving on a Tesla, guess what? You're gonna have to put up with it, sometimes messing up. But that is early adoption. If you want to be an early adopter, you've got to take the negatives. And with that in the crypto space comes hacking. You've got to take time, just like we take time doing fundamental analysis, doing technical analysis here on this channel. You've got to take time doing the laborious work of getting onto cold storage, practicing changing your passwords, making sure you're diversified across different wallets and different exchanges. I mean, luckily, it looks like here, based on Mark Cuban's wealth, there's not loads of money he had in there, right? I think he had $3 million, which for him, of course, is not his whole crypto portfolio. But had he have had that, he would have been in big trouble, right? So he got hacked for about $870,000. The remainder $2 million was still in the wallet. He moved into Coinbase custody, again, just for a bit more centralization versus his MetaMask wallet. So a good lesson for all of us to make sure we are protecting our keys. So if you look here, Crypto Mom on Twitter posted, he must have signed something he shouldn't have. Always such a big amount should have been in his cold wallet, not MetaMask, or even a multi-sig with 2 people he trusts. Now she's right? $3 million to the average person, that's a hell of a lot of money. That should be on cold storage. But probably for Mark Cuban, he's probably got much more. He's probably got tens of millions in cold storage, and he had a couple to play with on some hot wallets. So it's all relative speaking to your personal net worth, right? This is not the first time Cuban has taken a hit in the crypto market. Back in June 2021, he lost an unspecified amount of money on what he called a rug pull after an algorithmically stablecoin project called Iron Finance imploded. But here's the thing, guys. One thing you will learn is people that adopt technology early, people who become successful, like Mark Cuban had in the technology world when he built his initial wealth with broadcast.com. He can't take no for an answer, right? He's not going to let these setbacks make him now disillusioned with crypto. I know he won't. Like, even when the Iron Finance thing happened in June 21, 2021. I remember it. Like, he's still in crypto. He's not going to suddenly say, oh, I got hacked, therefore, he'll take it on the chin and be like, what could I do better? It's part of doing businesses to lose money, and sometimes that happens. And he'll get back on the horse and he'll keep doing his thing. And that's the key. We've got to learn that as well. You can't, invest or own assets without having to take a hit, right? Even if you own some real estate, maybe there's a plumbing issue, there's electricity issue. If you own some stock, sometimes a stock goes down in a bear market or recession. Same with crypto, you have a bear market. These things happen, and you've got to account for it as part of doing business. Fear and Greed Index sitting here on Saturday at 43. Look, the market's not crazy fearful. It's not, because we're sitting here despite everything at 26.5 chilling. Pretty much everybody knows that at a certain point, this crypto market is going to pop. And I think a lot more people now are confident of that when we've recovered from the depths of where we were going back down here. To the lows of 15,500, right? Just here in November the 7th, the week commencing with November the 7th. So we've come a long way, and that's reminded a lot of people that, look, crypto was down, it was out, inflation was skyrocketing, Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, Solana was taking a hit, everything, Voyager, Free Ares Capital, all these things were going on. And the crypto just kept plugging on. And now we've got some new worries. Yes, the Binance FUD. Yes, Coinbase is being sued by the SEC. Yes, we know there's a bunch of other stuff going. But there's other positive stuff that's come in our favor. Look at the XRP ruling, right, with the SEC. Look at Grayscale winning their review against the SEC. Look at the fact that BlackRock has filed a spot ETF. There are a lot of positive things which aren't completely priced into this market because we are in a bear market. If any of those positive headlines I shared with you were in a bull market, you would have seen crazy price action, right? That's what happens in a bull market. Positive news really stretches the price because you've got everybody's interest. But right now, volumes are low. We've got low volumes here. You can see almost a disinterest here in this market, just kind of petering out, and we're not getting the crazy candlesticks. And remember, it's not just about price action. You can have a lot of interest in the market, even though the price is going down. Right now, the price is just meandering. It's not really going up to the upside crazy. It's not going down to the downside crazily because there's just no interest. And we've covered that off in previous videos where the search trends and the volume, people just aren't quite interested in crypto. They're not checking their portfolios. Views on these types of videos are down. It's okay, because this is the moment where we just get to work. We get to work, we create disinterest. And the beautiful thing that happens is the more disinterest you have in crypto, the longer the period of the bear market. And not just the bear market where everybody's pretending like, oh, I'm not disinterested, but really they're watching their portfolio every day. I mean, they really forget about crypto. Like, they carry on doing whatever they're doing in their life. Like, they go and build their business, they go do some other stuff, and they forget about crypto. That's when the bull market's going to pop off. Like, this market needs to make everybody forget that crypto is even there, right? It wants to be that sleeping rock, and then suddenly, boom, off it will explode. And when that happens, the longer that it sleeps in the bear market, the more explosive the bull market will be, because the more disinterest you can create, it means the more people you have to reactivate in the bull market that will come flooding in when we see that initial burst of price action. So all to play for here in the crypto market. This is nothing out of the realms of normal, which we've seen in previous cycles. Yes, it's a little bit longer than previous cycles, but so is the asset class. The asset class is so much bigger. We're dealing with bigger volumes. We're dealing with bigger players. We're dealing with more people who know about crypto. And naturally, all I'd look at is, are we in a better position now than we were this time 3-4 years ago? And the answer to that is absolutely. Crypto's in a much better position from a tech point of view, from an adoption point of view, from a use cases point of view than we ever were 3 or 4 years ago. And for that reason solely, the 69,000 high on Bitcoin is surely to be eclipsed in my viewpoint. If we jump onto the dollar index, this is the bit that continues to worry me, right? Look at this. I mean, that is just phenomenal. This is moving like an altcoin in a bear market, right? Look at this. How many weeks is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive green candle weeks. Horrible here. The traditional market's posted its second week in a row down to the downside. So the traditional markets are struggling. Bitcoin's just had a week where it decided, you know what? I don't care what the dollar index is doing. We're just going to move to the upside. But you guys know, I don't think this week is going to suddenly change everything for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's in a bit of a precarious position. It's running into its weekly EMA ribbon. And unless we can get a big surge next week, pushing us above these kinds of levels, above 27.3, 27.4 to get above our weekly EMA ribbon, I'm just worried we could get rejected here to the downside. If I show you that on the daily chart, things will come a little bit more obvious. You can see we're running into our EMA ribbon. And I've been sharing this over the last couple of days. Like, guys, watch out. When you run into the EMA ribbon, it acts as resistance. Last time when we tried to do it, thrown straight to the downside. Now we're doing it, and already you can see a red candlestick opening today, just trying to move us back down to the downside. In order to change my mind on this move, Bitcoin needs to get a daily close above the EMA ribbon, 27.2 range. Nice close here where my cursor is, and we're good to go to then regain our daily EMA ribbon. And then we have a chance of regaining our weekly EMA ribbon. ribbon. So right now, have to give the benefit of the doubt to the bears. If we jump on over to the Bitcoin dominance as well, you can see Bitcoin dominance here on the weekly chart is just on an absolute tear. Bounce off of its EMA ribbon, and it's looking to move to the upside. If I should zoom out and show you guys my annotated chart here on the dollar index, you guys will know I've said for many, many months now that dollar index could go on another leg to the upside. And if it does decide to do that, that will be then replicating previous cycles we've seen where dominance has gone as high as 73. Now, I've come out and said, look, I don't necessarily think we have to go up to 73 and play the exact scenario out, which is what these arrows are showing that happened last time in the last cycle. But maybe it can still go to the next level, right? Maybe it can at least get to 58. Maybe it can come up towards 65 in these kind of range. Maybe it doesn't have to go all the way to 73, but still we're much lower here than we have been in previous cycles. And for me, I feel like we almost need to get to that peak fear level where people just don't want to be in altcoins. We're nearly there. Don't want to be in altcoins, just want to be in Bitcoin, and relatively more money is flowing into Bitcoin. And that's what we've seen over the last 3 weeks, right? If you look at these 4 weekly green candles here on the dollar index, on Bitcoin dominance, money is flowing into Bitcoin more relatively to altcoins. And that's still a sign of risk rotating off, which marries up with the story that we're getting from the dollar index, that risk is still rotating off. Now, we've got to ladder onto this, the added dilemma of the FOMC meeting coming up in the next 4 days. We will be covering it here live on the channel. Of course, Jerome Powell now goes into this meeting confused as to whether he should go for a pause. Should he do a rate hike? The CPI and PPI data was still a little bit hot. Is he worried that inflation could rear its head and maybe he preempts that by giving us a 25 base point rate hike? Markets aren't expecting so. Markets are expecting him to pause in 4 days' time from now. But the problem with that is when the market is so hell-bent on the idea that he's going to pause, if he comes out and doesn't pause, we could be in for a painful week this week up. So I'll be looking out for that. Hopefully you guys enjoy these updates. Appreciate this type of content, even on a weekend. Smash up the likes. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to go watch this video here. And I'll see you in the next one.